Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. We're on Chatter in a domination match. The title of this video I think is going to be something like The Curious Case of, and let's talk about the curious case of the Oland. The Oland is a ship that I think I should do well in, but when I looked at the stats, I found I was underperforming in this ship by a wide margin. We're top tier. I don't think the other destroyers on the enemy team are that dangerous to us. But I think a lot of the problem with me playing the Oland wrong or badly comes down to a couple of things. Number one, a lot of these pan-European destroyers are positioned as anti-carrier destroyers from my point of view. So I was putting a lot of my stuff into the AA aspect of the destroyer. The other thing is I think because they have a super fast reload, you get fooled into thinking they are true gunboats when in fact they are not. They only have 4 gun barrels, and I don't think they're that accurate in my opinion, without the benefit of the hidden stats or whatever. So I think you get into scenarios with the Oland and other pan-European destroyers where you're like, oh, I'm going to gunboat somebody like Bliskovice. I'm downloading the update as I'm recording this. So in theory, Bliskovice is being buffed, but a majority of those buffs are about torpedoes. You look at the other ships, yes, Friesland, I would say, is a gunboat because it doesn't have torpedoes. But that being said, not all the rest of these destroyers are Friesland. They don't have necessarily the same stats as Friesland. So Friesland is a gunboat anti-carrier destroyer. I think the Oland and a lot of these other pan-European destroyers are more all-around destroyers, or they trend from in between a gunboat and an all-around destroyer. Now, you don't have any detection capability. You do have DFAA. But I don't think you have the DPM to hang with a lot of the true gunboat destroyers at the tier. Now we got this cap. We're going to back out of the cap so we can kind of prevent from being killed, which I think was going to happen because there were other destroyers in the midst there. I am going to go to WoW's builds really quickly, and I'm not looking at what's going on the screen, in order to do something I probably should have done before I hit the record button, which is I'm going to go look here in a minute at the HE DPM of destroyers at this tier. All right, here's an Icarus. Now, we know the Icarus is not a gunboat. I am going to torp at the Icarus, and then I'm going to turn away. I'm presuming the Icarus has launched torpedoes, so I'm trying to dodge those torpedoes by running into the island here, and then I'm going to back up and turn toward my stern towards the direction of Icarus, and that's going to make it easier for us to dodge torpedoes. Now, he is torping. He's torping at someone else, but as this goes on, you'll see he did torp at me as well. At least I think he did. Yeah, so the second set of torps more towards our direction. And so you're going to see my teammate turn into the island to try to avoid those torpedoes as well. So because we can see the Icarus, I am going to shoot at him a little bit. But again, you only have 4 gun barrels. Please be reminded that the best gunboat destroyers at this tier have 5 to 6 gun barrels. Bliskovice has 7. So you can really be outgunned here. All right, back to WoW's builds, tier 6. Oh, let me pick a good one. And we'll get into our stat comparison just here in a second. And I'm going to get rid of everything but HEDPM. That is going to be the only stat we're going to use. And number 1 is Benson, number 2 Cossack 38. Oland is 3rd, but there is a huge gap, tied for 2nd, pardon me, but a huge gap in between Benson and Oland, which looks to be about 26,800 damage per minute. Not to mention the accuracy issue that I mentioned. Now, because I'm doing the AA build, I'm not using Aiming Systems Mod 1. Maybe that's a change that I should be making. But to me, if you build into the strengths of your destroyer, you build into AA. And I also can tell you I was not using no fly zone in row 1. Or, pardon me, I was using no fly zone in row 1 instead of brawler. Because again, we're building into AA. But that being said, again, I don't think this is as good of a gunboat as it's been cracked up to be. And I can tell you, I've been playing it primarily as a gunboat. And I have but prior to this match, a 38% winning percentage. Now, granted, I haven't played a ton of games in the Oland. But that's because the results haven't been very great when I played it. They haven't. The Oland is like a lot of destroyers in this game, where you can kill one enemy destroyer in a gunfight, 1v1, but then after that, you have no health, and you're left using torpedoes to try and up the damage that you did. Now, Oland does have heals, that's a benefit. So if you have to fight a Benson or a Kid, maybe you can survive that battle. DPM, isn't the end-all be-all of stats. You look at the Kid's got 5 gun barrels, the Kid's got that quick reloading, US guns, and the Kid has heals. Yeah, I think the Kid is a better gunboat than Oland. I would say, in my opinion, Les Terrible is a better gunboat. It's got quicker reload, its HE does better damage, and it's got really powerful torpedoes that if they slip those into the mix, you're going to have a bad day. Not to mention all the ships at this tier with radar or sonar, pardon me, just sonar. But that being said, you can be smoke sonared by any number of destroyers at this tier and have a really bad day. And if you're down here, then you throw in ships with radar, like the Black and stuff like that, the tier 7 destroyers with detection capability, and they will eat the Oland's lunch. So that's why I'm telling you, I personally think the Oland is not a great gunboat, and you need to play it a little bit more cautiously, choose your engagements instead of rolling in there thinking, I'm the second best gunboat by HE DPM at the tier, and I'm going to kill this guy. You might find that that's not the case. We are going to have a gun battle here coming up where it will show what I think is the inaccuracy. Now, I'm not saying you should swap in Arleigh Burke as one of your commander inspirations. I don't know if anybody uses Arleigh Burke as a commander inspiration. We did get our first kill right there. I believe it was by flooding. And we were trying to tune up the aircraft carrier here. Now, taking out a carrier is something that the Oland and the ships of her ilk are particularly suited for, in my opinion, because you've got a strong AA suite, and your torpedoes don't do a ton of damage, but they do enough. And then you've got these relatively quick reloading guns. And you can just chip away at a carrier like the Vesser here, who can't harm us with armor piercing, not really. It's just going to be all over pens and stuff like that. So we have the carte blanche to kind of chip away at Vesser here while our torpedoes make our way in there. And of course, teammate trying to kill Pinch. And they do. They do kill Pinch. But that being said, I was not bothered by the planes of the Vesser, so to speak. All right, so here's that Icarus. We didn't do a ton of damage to him before. He is kind of going away. But please pay attention if I can stop dodging torpedoes. I believe at some point we're going to take a look at the accuracy at 5 km and above here. And I think you'll find it is a little lacking. Just looking at the grouping of those shells leaves a little bit to be desired. Now, I'm saying when they give you a full broadside, just barely dodge the torpedo there. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit more luck, I think. But even these two shells are not landing anywhere near each other at 5 km and out. So the ballistics of these shells, you either need Aiming Systems Mod 1, but then that's going to weaken your anti-carrier capability. And at this tier, yeah, I would put the AA mod on this ship because I think, especially in this kind of game, 5-6, you're going to be counted on. I don't even know how we killed him. I don't think he was that close to dying. I must have got a full value HE hit there. All right, so turning back, we're just going to beeline for the remaining cap circle here. We've got about a minute left on our speed boost, which does run fairly long. So, use those judiciously. But we're just going to try to get back into the cap circle and start to flip that cap. And I'm under no illusions that we're going to cap it out when before the match ends. But that being said, Oland is one of these ships that I think I should do well in. I mean, you guys have watched enough of my videos to know I'm not an idiot out here in destroyers, and I kind of know what I'm doing. But Oland is just one destroyer that's fooled me, I think, into thinking, A, it's a better gunboat than it really is, and B, I just don't think it has the long standing damage capability of other destroyers due to those low damage torpedoes, unless in a match like this you can get into the later stages of the match relatively unscathed damage wise, which if I've been fighting a Benson or another destroyer that did a lot of damage, I mean, I don't think I would be saying that if I had fought a Lay Terrible instead of Icarus. And the other thing, the Icarus was running away the entire time. If you get a destroyer that bows in on you, even a Sims or a Charles F. Hughes could probably do a significant amount of damage to you before you killed it. And those are two of the weaker destroyers at the tier. And that being said, yes, you can make some hit points back on your heels. How much? Who knows? Well, I mean, yes, there's a way to calculate it. But what I'm saying is having heals is not a guarantee that you're going to tear it up and have a great match. All right, well, here is the Terrible. We're going to launch torpedoes at him as a scare tactic. Again, Terrible running away. And again, the shell grouping and dispersion, not great. And most importantly, right when we think we're going to finish him off, someone else is going to finish him off. And we don't get that kill either. Very disappointing. All right. Here we are on the victory screen, just short of 75k damage with what looks like 6 torpedo strikes, shot down 24 airplanes, 2 solo base caps, 2 kills, and a rather large amount of ship XP, commander XP, and green XP. I guess I must have done something significant, like the XP multiplier or something. Anyway, I'm going to try to have a review of the Buff to Please Kavicha on Thursday. I am re-recording carrier videos, by the way. Scoreboard, 2875 base XP, 2 big kills, officially a good game. Because of the buffs and nerfs to the carriers, I'm redoing all my tech tree carrier videos that I have out, so unfortunately for you, I will probably put those out in the future. All right, take a look at the stats. Just a 40% winning percentage, 49% main battery accuracy. Not great. Kill death ratio 1.1 in this ship. So I think that kind of backs up what I said. You'll get 1 kill, and then you won't have a lot of health left, and you won't be able to impact the match very much outside of that. Average damage less than half the max damage from this game. So this game we had 74k damage. Our average game is 38k damage in this ship. So just a ship that I don't do well in, and I would like to do better in. And I'm not sure why, although I am going to be making changes to this following this game. I'm going to change some of my consumables and some of my mods and see if I can perform better. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe down below. I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Have a good one.